and welcome everyone to No Cabin Fever today. I'm Michaela from Scandio, and with us today is Nikki Zavadska from Jexo. And his talk is today about how to manage backlog efficiently with priority templates. And so now over to you, Nikki.
Hi everyone, thank you. So thank you so much for having me on the No Cabin Fever today. I hope that everyone is doing great. Let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Nikki Zavadska, co-founder of Jexo. In Jexo, we help product teams improve how they deliver work. And today, I will talk about the backlog prioritization, and we will have a look how you can, what you can do to prioritize your backlog more efficiently. Sorry. When we are prioritizing our backlog and work, we often bump into these common problems. As a product manager, you are getting feedback, new ideas, and feature requests from many stakeholders on a daily basis. And more than often, it happens that you can't say yes to everyone. Your stakeholders might be confused why this or that got prioritized, and might have a feeling that they don't have enough influence on your prioritization process. Another problem was when we were evaluating ideas, usually the loudest person in the room took over and promoted their idea even when it wasn't the best one, which often means you might waste time and money building something which is just not good enough, and you miss on the bigger opportunity. This is usually caused by vague and inconsistent prioritization process. So the great first step to start fixing these problems is to standardize your prioritization process. Prioritization templates allow you to create the repeatable and more transparent and less random process, but also give you a great starting point for discussion with different stakeholders. Here you can see 4 prioritization templates or methods that will allow you to calculate scores for your priorities and bring more data-driven decisions into your process. So let's have a look on them. Value versus effort model, which is this one, is the simplest and quickest. It's best fit for prioritizing new products or MVPs, personal to-dos or small backlogs, but also for prioritizing basically anything, because it's very, very simple and useful. The next one is ICE, which is short for Impact, Confidence, and Effort. And it was initially developed for prioritizing growth experiments, but it really grew in popularity. And it's now used for prioritizing product backlogs and ideas, usually when you don't have data available about the product usage. On the other hand, if you are in position when you can actually work out data usage of your product or any customer insights, you can use RISE method. This method was developed by Intercom, and they also use it internally. It's really simple but powerful, and it helps remove bias from product backlog prioritization. Last method is called weighted shortest job first. It's usually recommended to be used by larger organizations that are using scaled agile framework, and it helps you identify and shorten long queues in projects and helps to speed up the delivery process. So let's have a look on a value versus effort method a bit closer. I have here example of 3 priorities we are going to be working on. With this method, we have 2 key metrics that you need to identify for each of your priorities, and it's value and effort, surprisingly. When filling up the value metric, ask yourself this question: how does this contribute to our overall goal? In our case, we assigned a medium value, which is equal to 8, to our navbar redesign, and super high value to new issue detail, and high value to our onboarding checklist. You can notice that each of these options has its own numeric equivalent assigned, and that's important because it helps us calculate the priority score in the end, and it will allow us to work with our priorities further. Next metric is the effort. Here we will need to evaluate how difficult it is to deliver the task, and we need to make sure to include all efforts from everyone involved in the process, from the research, design, development, test, and even marketing, because sometimes we tend to underestimate how much something is going to take, especially when you only include the development effort, because it often happened that some small UI changes was really quick to build, but they have had really great impact on documentation changes, which took quite a while, and we forgot to think about that. And we also like to use the t-shirt size estimations, so people don't feel to be committed to the timelines. And now when you have all of these, you're ready to calculate your final priority score. In this case, we just divide the value with the effort, and to prettify the score, you multiply by 10. And now you can clearly see which priorities we should consider to pick up first. The higher the score is, the more important the priority is. But just looking on these scores isn't always everything. And to look on your priorities from another angle, you can use the priority matrix. You can build it by simply placing the value metric on the x-axis over here, and effort metric on the y-axis over here. And size of the bubbles is the score we just calculated. And now let's have a look what these quadrants actually mean. So the first and most important, and usually the most loved one, is a quick wins quadrant, which is over here. So this here you will find the issues that are bringing the biggest volume, obviously, and they will require the minimal effort. If you prioritize these first, you will experience a fast progress in your project. The next quadrant is the low value and high effort one, and we call these the time sinks. If you decide to pick up and start working on these priorities, proceed with caution, because they don't bring that much value, and they require a higher effort. So we usually tend to skip them or leave them last. And other two quadrants are a big projects one. These priorities will take long to deliver, but they also bring you a lot of value. And fill-ins, which don't require that much effort, but you don't see that impressive results as from the other quadrants. The next prioritization framework we are going to look at is ICE. And as I already mentioned, this one was created to be used for prioritizing growth experiments, but it's also good for prioritizing product backlog, especially of the new products and for the marketing activities. ICE is short for impact, confidence, and ease. And these are also the metrics we are going to be looking at, so we can calculate the score. When assigning the impact metric values, ask yourself the question, how does this contribute to your goal? The goal here is anything your team or company is trying to achieve, which might be, for example, focusing on the customer retention, or increasing the brand awareness, or increasing the quality of your product. And you will be assigning the values from 1 to 10, where 1 is the smallest and 10 is the biggest impact. The next metric is confidence. Because we might be very optimistic about the impact, this metric is designed to bring us a little bit closer to the ground. So when filling this one, ask yourself how confident you are that this approach will work and it will deliver the impact you assigned it to be. And the last one is ease. We already discussed this one in a previous framework, so we won't go to that many details over here. So now when we collected all needed metrics, we can calculate the final priority score, which is just multiplying impact, confidence, and ease, and you will have it. And again, higher the score, the better. The next method we are going to look at is RISE, and it's short for reach, impact, confidence, and ease. So this method was developed by Intercom and is great for a repeatable way how to prioritize your backlog using the usage data. So you can notice that the metrics are same as from the previous ICE method, but we added a reach. This reach metric will help you bring the actual product data and learnings in the scoring process. With each priority, find out how many customers or users does this change impacts in this quarter. And you can think about it like this. For our navigation redesign, change will impact every user that logs into our application. So in our case, it might be around 2,300 users. And that's the number we are going to be looking on right now. Next one is the issue redesign. So we can check how many users used issue detail in the last 3 months. And for the onboarding changes, you can see how many new customers you had last quarter. Or if you want to be even more accurate, you can calculate how many customers are you expecting to have based on your growth rate. So it's not that hard in the end, and it really helps to make better decisions. And the finalized and the final RISE score is then calculated with the following formula. So if you think about the differences between the ICE and the RISE, you can really say that RISE is better suited for new projects and MVPs in opposite to the RISE, where you rely on the customer usage data, which makes it more suited for already established products. And the last prioritization method we are going to look at is weighted shortest job first. As the title says, this framework is focused on identifying the tasks that are most critical to be completed to reduce the queues and save the time. It's usually recommended for bigger projects and organizations that use a scaled agile framework. So with this framework, you're going to ask 4 key questions to fill required metrics. In the first one, you need to figure out the impact the task would have on the business. Next one will help you to clarify in if there is any fixed deadline or the dependencies, or if we would lose the customer if we don't deliver sooner or later. And third question helps align everyone on negative impact on the business or the goal if the task is not going to be completed. And the last question again clarifies the size of the tasks and how fast it can be delivered. And now when we have all metrics, we can calculate the final score with the following formula. You can see that this score helps us understand which items to pick up first, so we reduce the risk of delaying the project. It might not seem that impressive in this case when you look on the small list, but imagine having backlog with hundreds of items. That might be really life-changing for you. So these were our 4 frameworks you can use to prioritize your backlog. And I know it might be a bit too much to digest at first, so that's why we created this free bot that helps you figure out which prioritization method is best suited for you by asking 10 simple questions. In the end, it's going to give you a link to the articles where you can find all the details about the selected framework. And as a bonus, bot will also give you a link for an Excel worksheet that has everything ready for you to start prioritizing and using this method. And when you're trying to introduce the prioritization methods and practices into your organization, you might find out that spreadsheets are not the best way, not always the best way how to manage the process, because people lose the link, they don't look in there on the daily basis, and it might be even forgotten. So to make the prioritization process a natural part of your team's daily workflow, we created Foxy. Foxy is the backlog prioritization app that integrates with Jira, and you can access it from your project menu. It gives you an option to select from 4 predefined priority templates, and you can manage and update your priorities from the interactive table like this. And the score will be automatically calculated for each of your issues. There is also option to visualize the priorities on the priority matrix, which we explained earlier, so you can easily see what is the low-hanging fruit in your backlog. And if you find that you would like to tweak the model a bit, or you want to create your own prioritization template from scratch, you can. Foxy is fully customizable. And I'm really happy to announce that just now, because today we launched the Foxy publicly to the marketplace, so you can go and give it a try. Thank you so much for your attention today. And just a reminder, go and try the priority bot and see what framework is the best for you and your team.
Yes, thank you very much, Nikki. If there are any questions from the audience, please use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Then we will wait a few seconds, but it was very interesting today. Here's a question from William Krause. Hello, Nikki, great webinar. I have a couple questions. First, how do I convince my team to follow the prioritization process?
That's a good question. So there are usually, you might find out that there are difficulties with implementing these processes, especially from people who want to move fast and just want to tell you, oh, this is a priority, just pick up this. But you need to always like fight back and say, wait, we need to look at the numbers. We need to consider, more than just this is the business priority right now. So you can say if it's like a senior stakeholder person that you, with these templates, you're actually going to save them time and money when you analyze your backlog properly and pick up the most impactful things, not only from the business priority perspective, but also how fast it will be delivered and how does it impact your customer. So it might take a while, but if you really stand with your prioritization process and try to push it forward, you might see the results in around like 3 months or so. It really depends how flexible your organization is.
So, thank you, and thanks for that. He writes now, what if none of those 4 templates fit for my team?
So we picked these 4 templates because they are most data-driven. There's of course more prioritization techniques and methods you can use, like a storyboard session, walking skeleton, etc. So if none of these fits, you can first give it a try, at least one which fits most, and of course then you can go and customize it. So like it's not that it's set to the stone that you should use only these metrics and this formula. You can tweak it and use even more data you have available if you want, or use a little bit different types of metrics, like for example code coverage or story points if you use story points. So it would really depend, and you can customize the template to meet your team's needs.
Thank you, Nikki. Tomorrow we will continue with a talk about keeping Jira Service Desk secure in the age of remote work from Iran Levy from Adaptivist. And now I wish you a good day and bye-bye.